Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Slim Stock podcast. I am your host for this session, myself, Hidayat Ali from Slim Stock. And today we are covering a very important topic that's all front, right, and center, which is like how to build the future ready supply chains and what it takes. To unpack this topic, we have a very exciting guest with us. She brings a wealth of experience. She has worked for 18 years across multinational organizations, the likes of PNG and GSK. But on the other hand, she has also worked with the leaner teams, with the leaders in this region, the likes of Masafi. And she has, on top of that, wealth of consulting experience as well. So, super excited to welcome Umang to this podcast. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for giving such a warm welcome. I am very excited to be here to be part of the Slim Stock podcast. I love collaborating with you guys. You are our strategic partners, and yes, all ready to dig it in.
Before we start, I would like to ask that what is the one misconception about supply chain that you come across every day and that makes you laugh before we jump into the topic?
Well, see, most of the business owners and CEOs, they still believe supply chain is a support function, a cost center which moves the product from point A to point B. Supply chain is not a support function. The general thinking in the industry among business owners is why invest so much? It's just adding to the cost. Supply chain is the backbone of your business. It is the difference between profit and chaos. If your supply chain is done right, the product gets launched on time. If not, it never reaches the shelf. I mean, a strengthened supply chain means that your cash is either refueling growth or it's not. It's just dead stock, dead inventory. So the idea, what I'm trying to say is the understanding that it is a support function, a cost center that has to stop, because supply chain is the essence of your business. It is the way you envision, plan, strategize, execute your business. That is what supply chain essentially is.
Yeah, I think nothing new there, and I also come across this because yes, most of the leaders, but that is shifting. See it as a cost center, but I think in the future, it's just so many leaders are sharing this thought as well that it's the competition of the supply chains between companies, and if you see supply chain as an advantage, competitive advantage, and that's where you will be staying ahead of the curve.
And to be honest, look, we are coming from COVID times now. A lot of thinking has changed, because people at that time actually realized that not having a strong enough supply chain, what can it do to your business? Which means basically it can close down your business. And it did happen to a lot of businesses. So, yes, the thinking has changed, but that happened because of COVID. Otherwise, we were living in a world of normalcy where supply chain was just support function, a cost center, and don't invest too much. But thankfully, things are changing.
Starting from the beginning, I'm curious that when a supply chain leader, or rather the leadership team of an organization, they say that we want to digitally transform. Uh, I would like to hear your thoughts in terms of what it takes to digitally transform your organizations, and I would like you to touch upon the process part of it, the people part of it, and also in terms of data. Very importantly, what is required to do that digital transformation?
Look, generally, when a client comes, they say we want to do a transformation. And I generally pause and ask them, what do you mean by that? And generally, they do mean they want to get a new tool, or they have some fleshy initiative in mind. And that's what they call a digital transformation. For me, that's not a real digital transformation, that's just money spent. Okay, getting a tool, doing the investment. Yeah, for a real digital transformation, you need to see and streamline the way you operate your business and the rhythm of the business. A real digital transformation will change and streamline the operating rhythm of your business. And for a real digital transformation, you need to actually roll up your sleeves. And there are few things, maybe 4 of them, that you need to get them right. So let's start with mindset. I think first and foremost important, are you ready to challenge the legacy thinking, the egotistical cross-functional silos? Because no tool on earth can fix the culture that does not want to change. So it starts with mindset. And along with the mindset is the people, getting the right people on the bus. The people with the right thinking, the forward thinking, progressive people, if they are part of the initiative and they want to succeed and they want to bring the whole lot together, because this digital transformation is not about marketing wins or supply chain wins. It's about either we will win together or we will fail together. So that mindset needs to be there, and then right people on the bus, and then with those right people you need to assess their capability. And if there are gaps, you need to address them. Otherwise, it's going to fail, because it's the people which are the driving force behind this. So the first thing first, get the mindset of the organization right. Then comes your processes. So even on the process part, you need to question, and I say that a lot to my clients, sit back and question, do the processes that you have in your organization work for you, or are they just roadblocks in disguise?
Or maybe work against you as well.
Work against you. Because I've seen in companies processes where you require 3 to 4 layers of approval just to do a reorder. That is not a process, or that's not a control mechanism. That's friction. If your processes are not proactive and they are reactive and they do not help you in faster decision making, then this is hindrance to business, and you need to change that. So mindset and the processes. And then, of course, people are the most important component. You need to ensure that people are trained, they are capable, you have the right people on time, and it's the mindset and it's their capability. You need to address them both. Then comes the fact which is your physical infrastructure. Now you see, you need to see the current physical infrastructure that I have. Does it support the strategy? Because if you don't have the right kind of warehousing, distribution model, supplier capacity, then you cannot scale for excellence. If you're built for only merely survival, you cannot scale for growth. You have to be built for growth, for scalability. Lastly, I would say your data. Data is very important. Having clean, accurate master data, and not just clean, accurate master data, aligned data. If supply, demand, finance, and marketing are working on different numbers, then you're not talking about data, you're talking about confusion in the system. When you have no clarity and you have confusion in the system, you cannot have any kind of digital transformation. So I think these 4 or 5 components that I talked about are key to become ready before you start thinking about getting digitally transformed.
I think you put it up nicely. So moving forward, now that an organization, we have figured it out that, okay, what it takes from process or people or in terms of overall supply chain, physical infrastructure. But now I would like you to take maybe little bit into the sort of intangible part of the supply chain that is more like tools and technology that you need. For example, you are a mid-size retailer in this region, probably having 80 to 100 stores, 300-400 million in terms of top line. What do you think are like the must-have technology and tools that should be in place for you to stay ahead of the curves in terms of with your competition?
See, I'm going to start with the same thing, and because this is so engraved in me, I will keep repeating the same thing over and over again. you need to first have the foundation right. But if we are talking just plain tools and tech, so there are a few tools that consistently move the needle when it comes to future ready supply chain, resilient supply chain. First is, I think, an advanced demand planning tool, because it can spot patterns like no other human demand planner can do. You're able to simulate scenarios. My inventory goes down by 20%. What happens to my cash flow? My lead time jumps up. What's gonna be my cost to serve? I mean, you cannot have these kind of, because there's so many permutations here. You cannot have these kind of and you can't expect a human to have these kind of calculation at the top of their head. But once you have an advanced demand planning tool which does scenario planning, you have a better, not only you have a better forecasting accuracy, but because of these simulations you end up having a working capital which is much reduced without compromising on your service. So that's very important. Then secondly, I think control tower or visibility platforms, they're also very important, because once you're able to see your supply, demand, capacity in real time, you literally have eyes on the ground. Otherwise, everything is guesswork. If you don't have the visibility, you're flying blind. Yeah. But once you have that visibility, your eyes on the ground, you're able to make the decision faster, and you're able to influence the end-to-end supply chain. That's very important.
All right, so now we cover the tools and technology part of it, and I think this is something that I come across on daily basis as well, where people are comparing these tools with something that they just have in their ERP, and they think that can do everything, because that's exactly they have been doing probably for the last 20, 30, 40 years, and that challenge is there in terms of the belief in the tools and the adoption as well. And having said that, now put yourself in the shoe of a technology leader at a sizable retailer in this region. You are the technology leader, and you have to convince the leadership team, business leadership team, that, okay, I'm going to invest in these tools because I see the value, I see the ROI. But I think that's more of an organic and gradual process. You cannot just go and ask them to invest millions and millions of dollars in this. So if you have to start from somewhere and show that ROI and tangible results in the next probably 3 to 6 months, where you would start as a technology leader?
I can answer this question two ways. I can answer it from a technology viewpoint, and I can answer it from a process viewpoint. First of all, let's get, and you're an expert in this area. You know this. Digital transformation cannot just happen in 3 to 6 months. If something's happening in 3 to 6 months, that's more of a trial. Yeah. But for sure, you can have fixes of low-hanging fruits, which will give you quick wins, which in turn gives you the confidence which will make them invest. So on the process part, I will say that again. There are certain fixes that you need to do. You will fix your data. You need to have clean data. You need to have your unit of measures, your codes. Your master data needs to be clean. Okay, if your organization is still wondering and confused about what is the right number, you're not ready for it. So that's one. Then you need to get your processes in place as well. If a process is broken, if there is confusion in the process, sometimes people just don't have clarity on how to operate. If you don't have that clarity across the organization, it's going to hinder progress. So once again, you need to fix that. Sometimes you have the processes in place, you have the data right, but people are not enabled. And by that I mean, they're good, they're solid, but you haven't trained them enough. Okay, you have to enable people by giving them the right amount of training. So within an organization, without having any tech, if you just want to focus on process, you can focus on your people, on your data, on your process, and then you can do some basic kind of inventory segmentation, some kind of SKU classification, ABC analysis, XYZ analysis, some kind of SKU classification or inventory classification that will give you a basis to help you know to help you make smarter decisions, like, okay, these are my key SKUs, this is where I need to prioritize, huh? And then lastly, cross-functional integration. I cannot talk enough about it. These need to be somehow, you need to make it a habit, a part of their breathing cycle. I don't know how else to put it. That they have to start working cross-functionally. This routine needs to be a weekly, a monthly, a quarterly, a daily practice for them. Once all of that is established, then there are some tools that you can look into. End result of business success is what? Is shelf presence, bigger basket sizes. You want to achieve that. Any business owner, that's what you want to achieve, more revenue. If your forecast is right, you will have the right stock at shelf, not the some of the slow movings which are excess and some of the high movings which are out of stock. That can only be achieved through better forecasting. So definitely having a solid demand planning tool which can help you forecast better, which can help you simulate scenarios, is a big win. Maybe a demand planning tool, I would add that, which is supported by AI or ML, because this really helps. This really helps. Back then, when we were running 3 scenarios and it was taking us a day, now you can do 10 of them in a matter of minutes. So that's an advantage, and why not take use of that? And then some kind of dashboards, because you need to look at the big picture. You need to step back, look at, okay, this is what it looks like, my supply chain. This is the visibility. This is the end-to-end picture.
I think fantastic. So you have touched upon a very important point in terms of clarity, that you should know where you want to be. You should be absolutely clear about it, and how you are going to get there. But what I often come across, that business leaders, they have been doing something similar for the last, I think that is sort of little bit blinded in terms of the historical baggage of a company, that they have been doing something for the last 20 years maybe, and that has been working. And when you go to convince them to invest in something new, they tell you that we have been doing this for the last 20, 30, 40 years, but now the external environment and things have changed. How do you see that organizations like us, Slimstock, and other technology providers that power the supply chains can play their role to convince the business leaders to invest in the right technology that can take their supply chain and essentially their companies to the next level?
Look, for me, what works, and for me, I think what really makes a difference is when you put facts on the table. Okay, you can have a lot of flashy presentations, you can have larger than life demos, but what really works is when you show them through real data and numbers that this is the difference we've made. And I know Slimstock has made huge differences. And I mean, I know companies that have been using it. It has made their forecast accuracy go from, middle levels to higher up. It has done wonders to companies. And once you have that data,
I mean, that data is there, and trust me that once we do the impact of investment in terms of ROI and what the expect they should return, I mean, I have been part of the conversations where the other side of the table is in disbelief that probably this is not possible and not achievable, and that becomes a little bit difficult conversation to navigate through. Thank you so much. I think that was very insightful. Now we move towards the last part, which is the most exciting part, and which is fact or fiction supply chain edition. So I have few probably facts or fiction. You have to decide that. I'll throw these your way, and let me know your thoughts on this. So we start with, do you need a multi-million-dollar budget to transform your supply chain?
fiction, you don't need money as such to transform your supply chain. You need the mindset. Like I said, the first step is always the mindset, and not just the mindset of the leadership. You need an organic buy-in from bottom up. The entire organization needs to believe that this is something which is going to elevate my role, which is going to make me work faster, smarter, have an impact on my life. So no, without burning a hole in your pocket, you can totally do this.
Fantastic. Yeah, nothing is for free. So the next fact or fiction question is only large organizations can afford advanced solutions like advanced planning tool or WMS. What are your thoughts on it?
Fiction again. Look, the cloud-based platforms, they have leveled the field, I would say. It's not about the size anymore, whether you're a large organization or a small organization. It's about what suits you, what is gonna make your business more scalable. So no, fiction, complete fiction.
So the next one we got is that transformation is just about having the right tech in place, and that will do the magic for you.
If I call this fact, then this entire podcast, this is a no-brainer fiction. Tech is the last step in the digital transformation. There are people, capability, processes, data, culture, so much processes that you need to fix your physical infrastructure before you can get to the last step. Because like I said, tech will enable what you already have. So you need to have a strong foundation. If you don't have that strong foundation, it's never gonna work.
Fantastic. Now I'm under real pressure to throw you a fact because everything I'm throwing your way is a fiction. So the next I got is choosing the right tool is the hardest part.
I would say fiction, because the hardest part is defining what problem you're actually trying to solve. Once you know what problem you're trying to solve, choosing the right tool kind of becomes easier.
Okay, so the next one, I hope it's a fact. Having the right kind of data can fuel your digital transformation aspirations.
Absolutely, absolutely. This is having the right kind of data we get a fact. Finally, we come to a fact. Having the right kind of data is the most foundational step. And I say that because if you have everything right, just about everything, your process in place, your people, but the data is not right, everything is going to fall apart. So this is the most important and foundational step in a digital transformation. Actually, in the success of any operation, even if they're on Excel, you have to have the right kind of data. That's the very basic. So
the last one I got, that is a planning system will solve all your problems in terms of availability, out of stock, overstock. That magic wand.
Fiction, complete fiction, because definitely it will solve the math of it. Like I had pointed out earlier, that demand planners will, once you have an advanced demand planning tool, you're able to simulate many scenarios in a matter of minutes. You're able to play along with a lot of data. You have the visibility. So yes, it does help, but it solves the math. Before coming to that system, you need to have, once again, the processes, the data, the culture, the physical. You need to have all these things right before you can move to the demand plan. So it can enable it.
So thank you so much, Umang, for joining us for this thoughtful conversation that really cuts through the noise. And now as we are heading towards the conclusion, I would like to ask, what would be one piece of advice that you would like to share with the supply chain leaders?
I would say stop waiting for the perfect timings. Conditions are not perfect anymore. 2024, like, we talked about COVID, it was a chaos. 2022 onwards, it was a chaos. Since then, things have become as such that nothing is as stabilized as it used to be. So this has become the new normal. 2025 had its own things. 2026 will have more. So instead of trying to bulletproof everything, focus on a supply chain that can flex, that can adapt, that can respond fast. Because now the real challenge is adaptability. You can choose capability over the chaos. You can choose agility over perfection. Instead of trying to have the perfect timings or the organizer, choose agility, choose speed, because now speed, adaptability is big. And instead of focusing so much on platforms, maybe focus first on people. Once you have the capability, then you get the platform, it's going to be a success anyways. So get on the boat.
And that brings us to the end of this podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. We tried our level best to cut through the noise, and I hope you enjoyed watching it. And you can take maybe a thing or two from this conversation that you can use in your everyday role. And to hear more from us and similar sort of conversations, please follow Slim Stock and Supply Chain Talks media channels. And until we meet in the next one, cheers.